Head of the game. Back on a Monday. Jez back on deck. You were here maybe last week as well. Your voice is good back. You're healthy
Friday.
now.
Yes, feeling strong. Back on track.
All that sport on the weekend made you feel better, I hope.
Yeah. Sport, the beer. I don't know which one.
All right, today we're going to
one or the
chat
other.
some nah.
Yeah, no.
It's us looking back at the weekend of sport. Have some bold takes, some bold, not predictions, but some interesting thoughts
statements.
and comments.
See if you agree. Yeah or nah, or yeah, nah, or nah, yeah.
And then GPT KO, the best segment to ever exist on a podcast.
On a sports podcast.
How did you go on the weekend writing your articles over at bets.com.au? Did you get up?
I went well writing the articles, but it was a bit of a tough. It was a bit of a tough weekend. In all fairness, I had an absolute cracking week the week before. I think I went 9 of 12. I want to say in the NRL, and then I went 50% in the AFL. So it was a decent weekend, but that was the week before. This week was a little bit tougher. There were a lot of unexpected results in the NRL. So there were some big upsets, some big shocks in the AFL as well. So I got the raw end of the stick there, but overall it was okay. The Formula One did well. Supercars even had a hit. Supercars hard to tip, but had a good early hit on the supercars. So overall, I'm happy, but there is room for improvement. What about
anyone
you?
that was watching this show on Friday would have heard me say, get on the Roosters money line. And I hope you did it because that one was bang on.
Yeah, but you only said that because you're a fan. If statistically, it's never going to happen. There was so many trends against that. What a crazy result. Crazy weekend of sport. It was awesome.
Yeah. And I went pretty well with goal kickers in the AFL. That I just really remember my Sunday games. I had 1 to 39 margin for all three games. And I think all three were 40 plus margins.
The joys.
But I had what's his name? Ben King, Suns, 3+ goals. Would he kick 6 or something? 6 or 7. I had my check to score 2. I think he kicked 2. I had, who else did I have kicking goals? I had heaps of goal kickers, but I think all of my goal kickers hit in their like 2 or 3 plus goals for the game. So that was a good one. The margins not so much. Taking the right side, I think in most of them, in all of them, but just they were a little bit too good for my.
When I miss big. I was on the wrong side of the margins and the teams. I think in a lot of these games, but it's the joys of play the long game, as we like to say. If you're a professional bettor or a regular bettor or a betting tipster, whatever you want to call it, but yeah, you take the good with the bad sometimes.
Yeah. But another week ahead of us, and there'll be lots of game previews coming out on bets.com.au. But let's get into bold statements from the weekend. Yeah, nah. How about you kick us off here?
Bold statement. Let's go straight into the Formula One. Lando Norris wins the Formula One championship for the first time. Reason I'm going to give you my explanation and then you can have your little 2 cents. But I think we saw a maturity in the McLarens, which we started to see a little bit last year. It was a chaotic race. You
mean maturity like in the team or in the car?
Yeah,
or what?
I'm getting there.
Right.
Chaotic race, a lot going on, and they made the right calls. We saw Ferrari follow their general trend of trying to drive on ice with slicks, and it just like ruined both of their chances. They had a bit of a tough weekend, really.
They should have just taken one car in.
Yeah, but just nuts. But McLaren actually made the right decision. put their guy in the best position to win. They looked the most solid. Max Verstappen went around an extra lap and was lucky to really stay on the track and also finish in second. So I think that's a big plus. And then also the fact that they just had so much more pace, both of them in qualifying, just sort of makes me go, okay, they're definitely the team to beat this year. I think both of their cars were like 300ths quicker than anybody in qualifying. So they've got some raw pace. They're going to be at the front end of the grid in every race, you would presume, and except the tracks that really don't work for the car. So I'm saying it's definitely Lando. Lando's the
Do you
one to
think?
beat.
Do you think Piastri being so good could hurt his chances, or do you think it becomes more of a they help each other out? Maybe it's not Lando winning every race, maybe Piastri gets a couple, but because they're both at the top so often, that also excludes Max or Lewis from getting enough points to challenge the championship.
Yeah, it could definitely be like they could be their nearest rivals to each other.
Mm.
But then I think you're going to often see them as the 1-2. So they're just going to eventually the guy that's quickest at the start of the season. I don't think it's going to take them very long to play team orders again. As much as they say that they're not going to do it and it's fair game, they're like I think the guy that qualifies fastest and goes into the first turn ahead cleanly is going to be the one that they have to then protect at the start of the year. But I think we'll see. I think we'll see a more mature Lando Norris. I think you're going to see him play it sort of safer, be more consistent. And Piastri's going to have these races where sort of like what happened on the weekend, he spins out like the bold statement of Verstappen in before qualifying, saying, "Yeah, if it's raining, you just got to be more careful because it's raining," and that sort of exactly played out. And I think we're going to see these sort of small mistakes from Piastri because he is still extremely young, and Lando is young too, but he's had just those few more years in the paddock. So
Yeah.
I just sort of expect that he'll take the lead and he'll win the championship.
Do you, when all of this said and done, it's December, they're in, where they last
Yeah,
race, Saudi or some
yeah, Abu
place.
Dhabi, somewhere there.
Who is the championship already decided, or is it coming down to the
Yeah,
last race or two
no,
races?
no, it'll be decided early. Be decided a few races before, I reckon. It's going to be dominant.
Uh,
McLaren just looked too quick, and
yeah,
yeah,
and Ferrari's strategy,
yeah,
Ferrari strategy.
yeah. I'm hot on Ferrari, but they're not showing any good signs. Anyway,
Uh,
next one. Let's talk NRL. Probably besides the Roosters upset, I think probably the other biggest upset of this round had to be the Canberra Raiders doing a number on the Brisbane Broncos. I think
yeah,
after round one, we all thought Broncos. I think if we were doing this segment last week, one of these nahs was Brisbane Broncos for the premiership because they look so good. Their forward pack looks so good, and it did not look good against the Canberra Raiders. But it was because Corey Horsburgh had a monster. They Papali, how do you say Papali these days? Papali, I don't
Papali'i.
know. Yeah, he also extremely huge for them off the bench. They dominated. They looked good. They got their experience from Jamal Fogarty kicking game. Like he's up there as one of the elite kickers, game managers when it comes to
Yeah,
that type of kicking in the league for
100%.
sure. So the bold statement here could be: Are the Raiders a lock for the top eight? Maybe that's not bold enough. Are they a lock top four? It's huge.
If we're doing this after one good game, we're gonna have this
Two.
conversation every
They're
single
2 and
week
0.
about yeah, but they weren't.
Beat the
Yeah,
Warriors.
yeah, they were,
You
but the
know,
Warriors weren't good,
is
and I
this
don't
stick?
think
Is this Sticky's
Brisbane were
year?
great. Oh, I can't believe he's still coaching. To be
Sticky
honest,
Icky. Yeah. Sticky Icky Ricky.
I don't really rate him. It was funny. I was
No.
speaking to Kev, one of our mates,
Mm,
and he's also a Roosters supporter. This was, I think, before, during round one, and
mm.
he was like, "Get rid of Robbo. His time's up. He's over." I was like, "Well, who do you bring in? Who's the coach to come into the Roosters and make them better?" you're promoting Matt King up, and his reaction was get back Ricky Stewart. I knew it was a joke, but he rolled me up. He's not a good coach.
Maybe he's elite. We'll see.
No way. The Raiders, I'm not counting the Raiders, right? I need to see more from them. I think, Horsburgh had a great game. I think Brisbane struggled, and I think they just had a bad game, and that made Canberra look so good. Reece Walsh was off. I didn't see a lot of Payne Haas in the first half or the first 20 minutes. I think there's more from Brisbane there, which they didn't have, and made Canberra look fantastic. Now, the Canberra forward pack are great, but they also have shown throughout the years that they've been wildly inconsistent. And even their backs, like Seb Chris and Xavier Savage and all those guys, they're just like, they'll have one good game every now and again, and then they'll throw forward passes, they'll drop the ball, they'll miss tackles. I need to see more before I believe it.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, Richmond, the biggest upset of the weekend. Yes. Huge, like
massive.
Richmond. I want to know really is a Richmond not a lock for the wooden spoon?
No,
but I don't know. Was Carlton just so bad, man? Like Carlton fell apart. I'll throw it straight to you. Tell me your.
Richmond are not a lock for the wooden spoon. We spoke about this, I think, on Friday's episode because the game had already happened, and Richmond do have some veterans still in their team. You got Lynch, you got McIntosh, you got guys that have lost them that can still play, and their young core isn't maybe fantastic, and they're still building to be able to be a contender in the future, but they got guys, and they showed that against Carlton. A team that is disgusting right now, that's St Kilda, and they could be a lock to the bottom. West Coast were not much better. They're struggling still in defensive structures. So I think Richmond they'll be a lot better this season than what even I predict them to be.
Yeah, I think quickly I want to ask you, what are your thoughts in North Melbourne? I thought North Melbourne were building a little bit at the end of last year, and they looked good again this week. Like they're in this wooden spoon conversation, but you didn't even mention them. I think we feel like they're in the right direction now, and we should see them sort of mid-bottom 8 or bottom 10.
Yeah, and I think they're going to be a factor of the teams around them, whether they finish 12th or 17th. It's going to be how do they go against that immediate, against the Richmonds, against the West Coast, against St Kilda, against if you put the Crows down there, maybe they can score points, and you've seen that on the weekend. And they got guys that can break games open, and they got a strong midfield. Again, the defense struggled. They were one of the worst, I think the worst defensive team in the league last season. And they still need to shore that up. But that comes with experience, and comes with time, and comes with playing more games together as a team. And yeah, I think they're building in the right direction. Finally, it's been a long wait for North Melbourne fans.
Yeah. So let's get into the most important segment of sports on the internet. Who are we putting up against each other this week, Rhinos?
Take a break and we'll come back. Give us some time to breathe.
Oh, suspense.
Marinate. Okay. GPT KO. And, there was a lot of thoughts here about who we could push into the bracket. We missed a week last week. We didn't do Monday pod last week because you were sick. So a lot of water has gone under the bridge since Pete Volandis and Andrew Dillon matched up. Now, I just want to show you this, Jez. And
a lot of time on this, buddy.
Yeah, your audio wasn't on there. I didn't know if the audio was going to work when I put it straight on, but now it's on.
I just went, whoa, pretty much. Yes, there's a lot of work you've put into this segment. I love it. You're so
Yeah,
passionate
it's
about it.
so we see here there's going to be 8 fights, and we'll get to a winner. We started off with some administrators 2 weeks ago, and we're like, okay, who are we going to put in? We can't just keep going with administrators. We've got to go teams, or we've got to go players, athletes. How do we separate the bracket? There's so
Mm,
much to
yeah.
think about here. And we decided that we separate athletes on the right side and then other stuff on the left side, and maybe we'll figure out something different next week when we come back to it. But this is what we're doing for now. Volandi's won the first matchup, and the second matchup will be drum roll.
We need sound effects buttons. Get onto that.
Max Verstappen and George Russell.
Mm.
Okay, let's jump over to our.
I like that we've chosen this one because their beef at the end of last year was pretty real, even to the point where I think they have their end of season dinner and all the players. I think Verstappen or Russell was the last one at the dinner, and they made them sit next to each other. Or everybody else sat. Everybody else sat in all the other spots on purpose in some sort of group chat, so they had to sit next to each other because they
Love
don't
it.
like each other. And then there was some comments over the weekend again. So this is good. I'm really interested to see who's going to win this because this is I don't know. This is an interesting one. Let's go. Match 2.
Let's
Hit
go.
it.
And I think we may have upgraded our chat GPT since the first one. So let's see if this one gets
Mhm.
us a bit more action.
Okay, you haven't even showed a test. Haven't even done a test run
No,
yet.
no,
Ooh,
straight in.
straight in.
2, the fiercest competitors in Formula One step into the ring. One's a ruthless, no nonsense racer with a killer instinct, and the other's a polished, well rounded operator who knows how to play the long game. I think we know who's who there. But in a
Mm.
straight up fight, let's break it down. Tail of the tape Max Verstappen, 26-year-old, 181 centimeters, aggressive, relentless,
Nice.
thrives under pressure, has the raw power and fearless mindset to go full throttle in a scrap, will absolutely ignore the rules and go for a KO.
Ooh,
Very strong. George Russell,
yeah.
26 years old, a little bit taller, 185, cool,
Well,
calculated, and deceptively strong. Mm, big dick, maybe. More of a
what?
strategic thinker, but has that British grit. Knows how to survive tough situations and pick his moments.
Mm-hmm.
Fight breakdown, speed and agility. Russell, slight height advantage, but Verstappen's sheer explosiveness could see him take the fight straight to him. Aggression. Verstappen has to be the aggressor. Verstappen fights like he
Mm.
races, no backing down, full attack mode. Russell might be more defensive, but can he withstand the onslaught? Definitely a no there.
Mm.
Endurance. Both drivers in peak condition, but Verstappen has shown insane stamina in high pressure situations. Endurance is a big one. Who does before we get who wins endurance? Do you reckon out of these two guys?
I don't know. For some reason, you feel like Russell would have better
Yeah.
endurance, but
I think he's a little
physically,
bit like
but not in the
he feels
mental game. I don't think.
more
Two
patient.
types of.
I feel like Verstappen could just if he's not getting there quick enough, he just like, try too hard and like if he goes to a 24
Mm,
hour race, he's trying to win it in 8 hours. You know what I mean?
all right. Yeah, yeah. I don't agree.
Final verdict. George Russell is tough, but Verstappen has that ruthless, win at all costs energy. ChatGPT sees Max taking the early advantage with sheer aggression, Russell trying to counter with strategy, but ultimately, Verstappen lands a brutal finish. Max Verstappen,
Wow.
winner via
TKO.
TKO.
I love that it even gives you the way.
Well,
But spot
there,
on. I think that's what we were all thinking, right? Like,
yeah,
were
yeah,
you thinking it was going to end any other way? It wasn't
no,
Verstappen in the rounds.
no.
Like you said, he's going to go early round knockout. Maybe not as early as old Volandi's on the other side, but but still, this man, love it. This is so
All right.
good.
We need people to tell us who we should be putting in this bracket. Some great matchups. Doesn't even have to be of the time or of the trends, whatever, but in history of sport, in anything. It's
Yeah.
fantastic. I love it.
Yeah, that's what we could do. We could even go back. Like, we're just thinking in the now when we've been discussing this, but we could pin someone from the now against someone from
Yeah.
way, way back and see. We could sort out the whole LeBron,
LeBron and
Jordan, yeah, Gretzky
Gaze
versus
and Cotton.
Ovechkin. Yeah, guys, like how this goes to a whole nother level.
Oh,
Maybe that needs to
maybe.
be a whole nother GPT KO of pinning previous and like old
Yeah.
stars, goats against goats.
Old versus
Uh,
new.
yeah, man, this
Yeah.
goes to so many different levels. We need to get anybody that wants to animate these, that wants to animate them,
That
so
would
we
be
can
so
make
cool.
this instead of us just reading from ChatGPT. Someone wants to animate these, jump on board because I'd love to see it.
Fantastic. Hey, thanks for a good chat today, bro.
Thank you.
I
Bye.
need to go and calm down a little bit from this ChatGPT
Yeah.
KO.
Yeah. Is it your turn to do the line now or what? I've done
I
it the
never
last
remember
few.
what it is.
Yeah.
Before we get there, though, Tuck Sport Takes, Sports Best Jez, bets.com.au for all the game previews, racing, NRL, AFL, game 4 of the NBL. I think it's over, unfortunately, Wednesday.
Yeah.
But
I'm in the process. I'm mid-script writing that game, actually.
exciting.
Mid-script.
All right,
But
take it
yes,
away.
just remember,
Stick with us.
just stick with us, ride with us, hang with us, and stay ahead of the game.